Today I've got a fun technique to share with you. We're going to be doing some no-line layered stamping. It's a great way to get a different look from your images. Hello and welcome, it's Therese and I'm here for Altenew, and today I'm going to be using this Wispy Joy stamp and die set to make a beautiful floral card. Now this is a layering stamp set which has 3 floral images as well as some leaves. Now each of the flowers has an outline and the layering stamps, and they are marked on the packaging which order to stamp them in, and there's also lines on the packaging which will tell you which images coordinate or go together to create the flowers. Now I'm not going to be using the outline stamp, which is normally the one I'd stamp first, because I want there to be a no line look. So the image that I'm going to choose first is the most solid image, or the second stamp that you would normally use for each of the flowers. Now this particular flower here has a couple of leaves attached to it, so I did have to make sure that when I placed it on my Misty stamping tool that I faced it with enough space to put those leaves on, because I want to do all my stamping and all my die cutting at once just to make it a much faster process. Now these are quite solid images, and it's the first time I've used these stamps because it's part of a release today. So I did actually come in and use a conditioning eraser to prep my stamps before I added the ink. I'm using the Tranquility ink set, which is just beautiful, and I want to create 2 different colored flowers here, and leaves. So the way that I do that is I choose different parts of the ink combination. So for my first flower here, I start with the lightest ink and then I add a darker one, and then I can flip my cardstock around and I'll start with a darker ink, and that's just going to give me a couple of variations in the colors for both my flowers and for my leaves. Now after I've done this, I've now got a lot of flowers that I can use. I've got the first layer stamped. So it's just a good way to speed things up by stamping multiples at a time. The second layer of my stamping, I've grabbed the next image stamp and I'm lining it up over top of the base layer that I've done. It is a little bit more difficult because you haven't got the outline of the image to line it up, but if you're not sure, you can have a look. The packaging, if you open up your packaging, it actually has a guide to where to put each layer, but you can also go onto the stamp at the website and it will also have a link for the layering guide there as well. Right, so when I layer up each of these stamps, I do them one at a time. That way I don't accidentally bump them. And when I say one at a time, I mean I will line up one stamp, pick it up with the lid of the Misty, line up the next one, pick that one up with the lid of the Misty, and then the third one I did that. And then I did the conditioning eraser again and added my darker ink. And now I'm getting some depth and variation in the flowers, but I haven't got the outline there. So it's a really fun way to stretch your layering stamps, especially the florals. So I did the same with the darker floral image, and there is one more layer for the 2 larger flowers here, and I just came in, did the same thing, lined them up separately, picked them up with the lid, conditioned them, added the next dark layer of ink. And I sometimes will jump 2 of the colors of ink. I won't just go to the very next one. Sometimes I'll use the lightest one and then the third darkest color from the set of 4. It just, if you're not sure, make a couple of pages of flowers, test out your colors and see what you like. You can always mix them into another bouquet on another card. So this is the flower I was telling you about that had the leaves attached to it. What I did here was just held the die in place, put the stamp over top, and then picked it up on the lid of the Misty so that I knew it would stamp in the correct place. I did the same thing here with the leaves. This time I'm using the it's the Green Fields ink set, and I used the lighter and then the middle and then the middle and the darker color. So for the first one I used the the frayed leaf and the forest glades, and the next leaves I use the forest glades and evergreen. So it's a great way, if you don't have many inks or not very many colours, you can actually restamp the same colour for your second layer, and just by adding the same colour on top of itself, you will get some variation. So that's a good handy tip. Or you could add purple on green, that would also give you lots of depth as well. The centre of the flowers, I just came in with the obsidian black, which is one of my favourite black inks. So bold. Now I did use the coordinating dies here to cut all these out. I wasn't sure exactly how many flowers I was going to be using on my card, but I didn't mind having a few extras on hand. I've got a few background panels sitting off to the side that need some attention, so I might just grab those out and use them with this. So I also created a sentiment, which is from the Hello Friend stamp set, and cut that out with the halftone circles die set. And then it's time to assemble our card. I felt like this card needed a little bit of texture, so I had a piece of white cardstock which I ran through my die cutting machine with it's the organic linen 3D embossing folder. This is quite a subtle look, even though it does have quite a bit of dimension, and I did actually go back and die cut that with the largest of the rounded rectangles as well. And that was just going to give me a panel to pop up my bouquet. I wanted this to be quite a clean and simple card, just to show off those beautiful no-line flowers. So I'll pop that panel up on the front of an A2 top fold card, and then I could just come in and add some different layers with the flowers. I like to have some directly onto the background. I just use my glue tape to do that, and the ones that I popped up I used the foam tape. And then I actually came in and added a few of the satin white sequins at the end as well. I hope you're inspired to try some no-line layered stamping with your floral images, and if you do, don't forget to share them with me. I'd love to see what you create. And if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe to my channel and clicked on the like button for this video. And if you want to, you can also share it. Thanks so much for joining me here today. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.